And hello to all my Cancer friends, I'd like to welcome you in. My name is Scott Sagent, and today I'll be doing your free Psychic Tarot reading for September 2023. Now today they have dialed up for my great Cancers a Celtic Cross spread, and a Celtic Cross is a great spread for general readings because it looks a little bit in the past, a little bit in the future, but it focuses the most on what is going on right here, right now. In this case, it is September. It is also the only spread that I do that devotes an entire card and a placement for the environment. So there's something around you, Cancers, that they want to bring to your awareness in the month of September. They've also asked that I conclude your reading with something very interesting. I love doing animal totems, and they want me to do 2 animal totems for my great Cancers. So this is a transitional animal totem. We're going to be taking the characteristics from one, getting you out of those, and getting you into the secondary animal, so it is a transition. Interesting things for that. You never know what animals they're going to throw at us either, too, so sometimes they're wacky. Going to conclude your reading with the Rune Stone, and they're a lot of fun too. Conclude your reading with the Rune Stone, and we got lots of new stuff to do. I had to make a list to make sure I remembered to tell you it all. So not only are we doing your moon cycles, not only am I going to tell you about the brand new service that is in the shop, Rune Stone we talked about, we're doing a new one called chemistry tracking, guys, and this is telling Cancers what your chemistry is going to be very good with, what other signs in the month of September, what's kicking strong, also what is kicking weak, what should Cancers avoid, what signs are roughing the feathers up, so to speak. So we're doing chemistry tracking, looking at that, your extra spread, which we already talked about, and concluding your reading with a new one too, a little spiritual perspective that I call homily. Homily is a little pep talk that I think you guys will really enjoy, and that's what we're going to conclude your reading with. So, lots of stuff to do, Cancers. Let's get started. The cards are already shuffled. I do that ahead of time to save us all a bunch of time. And now I'm going to bring you in my overhead so you can watch. Almost had it. Now we're on. Now we're live and recording. All right, Cancer, these are my ritual cuts, cutting each deck into thirds, putting them back together in a separate order. Satisfies the ritual aspect of tarot. Same procedure for personal private readings, so it's just like you're here with me now. I should also tell you that I've done a lot of work with the chapters, the YouTube chapters, and timestamps in the description and on your YouTube bar there, so you can skip over parts of this reading that you do not want to watch. Maybe you don't care about these cards, but a lot of people do, so I put it there. And also with those chapters, you can jump back to things that you would like to watch again, very simply. So here we go with your Celtic Cross. This is you and all that you are. This is what crosses you. This is what's before you, the recent past, and this is what's in front of you, Cancers, the near future. When we move to the above position, that's telling you something that you're aware of, and this is the bottom position telling you something that you're not. I love that one. So there's your main cross, at least, and it is in camera very nicely, actually, quite, must I say. I'm actually going to move that a little bit like this so we can see the rest of it better. So there is your first cross, your main area, and then we go running up the sides here with number 7, number 8, number 9, and number 10 I'm going to bend in for the sake of the camera. Hopefully you can see that number 10 there. Now we have a lot of people cards that came up in your spread and actually no major arcana cards, so we don't need my oracle deck at all. That almost is an impossibility, but here it is and it happened. So first I need to see if this is a person, or if we're using the energetic definition, they say energy, we leave that alone. Same thing for this. Is this a person, this knight? They say no, we're using energy definition. And we got one more to check, which is the queen. Discard on the queen and they say this one is a person. That one is. So everything is done, guys. Since there's no Oracle Angel cards needed, this is your Celtic Cross. So let me just show you up close so you can see everything. You and what crosses you. This card should be like this, but so you can see it, I kind of do it like that. That's you and what crosses you. Here's your whole cross in general. I'm not sure if you can hear the rain or not, but dealing with the hurricane bands from that hurricane that moved through. And here we go. This is number 7. This is position number 8, position number 9, and 10, your final outcome. And number 8, which was this one, is your environment. That's what they wanted to do the Celtic Cross all about. So let's get started. Okie dokie, Cancer. This is going to turn into a pretty simple Celtic Cross since there's less moving parts than I'm used to expecting. So here we go. You and all that you are. At the very beginning, they show nurturing of the money is needed, Cancer. Maybe a little bit too much spending, too much cash flow going on. Maybe this can also be nurturing of health. It does feel more to me like financial, but Pentacles represents, it's an and or. It can represent both. Usually it's not and. Usually you get one or the other. So they're either telling you need to really nurture your health, or you really need to nurture your finances. Another way to say that is to save. And for health, you just pay attention to it. You gotta, maybe it's time to start exercising. Maybe it's time to start watching what you eat. Start doing whatever you need to do to take care of whatever ailments you have, right? So that is the beginning of your Celtic Cross. So there's some form of that they want to bring your attention to so you can implement this positive change into your September, like right now. The next thing they show here is getting over my hoarder card, which this is hoarder on an invert, so it changes the energy up, is what it does. Is it basically is saying it's actually okay for you to be a hoarder right now. It's actually okay for you to not spend. It's actually okay for you to keep it in. And if that is a health message, because it's again a pentacle, and this is a general reading, guys, of course, we have a lot of Cancers tuning in here. If you're looking for messages that are personal, private, specific to the point, exactly about you and nobody else, you need a personal private reading to do that. I have a host of those on my website, scottsagent.com, from small all the way up to full service. Whatever you're looking for, I got it for you, and I recommend each of you get one of those in some form at some time. You'll love it. It's wonderful. So this hoarder card on an invert saying it's okay to save. So financially, it makes a lot of sense, very easy. Now, health-wise, what would they be saying keep it in for? They don't want something coming out. Okay, so it would be like, hey, if a doctor says, hey, we got to remove your gallbladder. Just first thing that popped in my head. You might want to get a second opinion on that, because here Spirit is saying we want to keep something internal here. We don't want to go outside for this. So maybe this is even going outside your insurance providers. You're going outside your medical in some form. So different strokes for different folks. You can see where we start. So that is the beginning of what crosses you in your cross and where you're at. Now, when we go to the past position, the recent past, they do show a lot of tears. Tears, anxiety, or stress. Anyway, it's not very pleasurable. So some of you have been through some stuff to get to this point where you're at now. Whether that is connected to what is happening in your September or not, but they show a lot of you still carry something here, carry this burden of nerves, and maybe it's even a sickness where you were, maybe some of you, in a way, you never really healed from a certain sickness. And let me just throw out here that maybe this is something up here. Maybe this is not an actual sickness like a disease. Maybe this is more of a mental type of thing. More of a anguish, more of a mental trauma or something like that from the past, and it is showing that it's still affecting you in September. So when we get into your future position, first of all, the mood lightens quite a bit. We have very good energy coming in for your future, Cancer, looking very nice. Now this is what they want to talk about, at least, is one of two things. It's either a big purchase is happening in your near future, big money being spent, which, starting at the beginning, they told you, if it's about finances, you might not want to be doing big spending here, but in the future, they show some of you doing that regardless. And this is a pleasurable purchase, so it's not like, the roof sprung a leak and I got to get a new roof. This is more something that you really enjoy of a purchase, something that brings you a lot of contentment. Now, the other definition of this card, which can happen just as prevalently in a general reading, is that this is just a big, great connection between spirit world and earth plane realm. It's just a good spiritual hum, just a good vibration, good flow. So spirit is in a wonderful position to help you in the future. Really great. It's basically saying the veil is very thin, and maybe it's just because of you. Maybe you are the one who has just brought yourself to such a high frequency that they're able to help in great ways. So great small connection there, very thin connection between spirit and earth for you in the near future. So that's good work there as well. When we move to your above position here, we're telling you something you're aware of, and they're saying that there's some kind of important something coming in late in September for you guys, and you're already aware of it, so I don't need to tell you again. But they want to make sure you don't miss this for some reason. And this is coming through the air. So more than likely, that means a phone call, a text message, or an email. When this card comes up, they think that people are going to miss this, whichever form that is. I always tell people it's a good time to check your old emails. Maybe something important that you weren't maybe expecting, or maybe you were expecting, and maybe it would get moved to junk. And if you didn't think to check there, maybe you'd miss it, right? So we don't want to do that. So that's what they're bringing up here, is something you're aware of, but aware of it again. Okay, they're going to remind you again. Now, before I get into your bottom position, this is telling you something that you're not aware of. It's my favorite position in the Celtic Cross because now I'm unveiling something very important. So we're going to cut away for your moon cycles and we're going to come right back into that. I'm looking ahead to see if we have relevant moons. They don't really pinpoint. So I think the field is wide open actually for my Cancers, whether you're trying to bring something new into your life or maybe some of you are trying to purge something out of it. If you're bringing it in, pay attention to the new moon. You're trying to kick something out, pay attention to full moon. I'll be right back with your bottom position. Okay guys, it is moon cycle forecast time and the moons for September are starting to calm down. September, October, through the rest of 2023, the moon cycles are a little bit more solemn. However, you can still use this energy, the full and the new moon, to implement positive change into your life because after all, the moon does have a gravitational lock on this planet of ours and it's strong enough to pull the water of Earth towards space. The water bulges and that's what the tides do, moving in and out. And after all, aren't we mostly water as well? You think it has an effect on us? Absolutely it does. So here's what's going on. Linear speaking, the first thing that hits as we enter September, we're still dealing with full moon energy from August. Now, this is the best time to get stuff out of your life. I want to focus more on the full moon later in the month, but as we enter the month early, that's when most people are checking out these videos. So I'm letting you know that right now, it's a good time to break habits, a good time to get stuff out of your life. People wrap up projects, anything that's got to go. That is the energy of the full moon here early in September. Now I want to focus on the new moon because new moon September 14th, this is going to be significant just because I got something special to share about the new moon. I stumbled upon this a few months ago and I was waiting for the right time to do it. And this is the moon cycle where I'm going to share it. This is from a very gnostic text. I forget which one it was. It might have been the book of Adam and Eve. One of these books that was held back from the Bible, from the Pope. And very interesting things because all these events happen during the new moon. This goes back to the flood story, which is not just in biblical texts, but it's in a bunch of different religious texts. New moon, that was when Noah was commanded to make the ark. Happened on a new moon. And he entered in the ark, also on a new moon. New moon is when the water stopped. Of course, these are not sequential new moons. It's not just one after another, but these events happened under a new moon. Here's another one. The tops of the mountains were first seen under a new moon. The earth, like the bottom, the lower levels of the earth, became visible from the floods going down under a new moon. And finally, Noah went forth from the ark under, you guessed it, a new moon. So you think new moon's relevant? Or what else are they trying to tell us in that book? I would say it's quite important. So the new moon, best time to bring things into your life. Start something new. Start a new diet. Go for a new job. Try to get something new going in the work corner. Something new in the love corner. It doesn't matter. Whatever you're trying to implement into your life, the new moon brings in the manifest. So it's the best time to pray. If you're a prayer, or if you like to just manifest things with just meditation or whatever it is that you do, this is the best time, middle of the month, guys. And we get back into that full moon energy, like I told you, late in September. This is the key for getting things out. I know we talked about it being early in the month, but it happens stronger for September late. In fact, it's the 29th. So the very last few days of September are incredibly strong for getting things out of your life. Got something you got to sell, repurpose, finish up an old project, kick somebody out of your life, kick a bad habit. Doesn't matter what it is. That is full moon energy, guys. Use that to your benefit. And I also have a moon cycle cheat sheet that I always put on my website for you. It's there for free every single month. It's on my talking about page, stuff that I'm talking about. You can scroll down and see that moon cycle guide. It's a little visual aid just to help you understand how these energies move in and out. While you're there, make sure you're signed up for the newsletter as well. Give my newsletter people a couple great things every single year, usually in the terms of free readings and also great promo codes. It's just one email that I send out every single month, so that is a no-brainer. Follow the Facebook page as well. That's for contests and giveaways, all kinds of great stuff on the channel. And before I let you go, I want to tell you about the brand new service on the website. It is called Pet Connect. By popular demand, people wanting to check in on their pets, see how they're doing. A little bit of profound stuff can be had in this way. I made this product very, very affordable. I want to make it super friendly so that anybody can check this out. I know I get asked all the time about pets. Are they in heaven? Can we check in on them? All this kind of stuff. Is it even possible? The short answer is yes. It is a complicated situation, but it can be done, and to the point where I've made a product to just deliver that service to my great clients. And that is available, scottsagent.com, launching on Labor Day, guys. Labor Day is the day for that. And when you see that launch on there, there will be a video that goes with it that talks all about it, shows you the ins and outs and how it works. So check that out as well. The gemstones in the shop are still buy one, get one with the free charm. Any gemstone purchase in the shop will come with a free charm as well as a free little bag. It's kind of like a buy one, get 3 items for free, and that is running through the end of the year, so that's worth checking out as well, guys. Let's get back to your reading. Okay, Cancer, I am back in the bottom position. It is time for it, telling you something you're not aware of, and they want to bring to your attention how much a lot of you are not really sure about a decision. About not making up your mind. It's another way to say that. The translation in tarot is sometimes kooky, a little goofy, but that's basically what it means. It means inaction here. Now, some of you, I can kind of feel you listening to that and say, oh no, I know exactly what I want and when I want it, and I'm going to get it, and I'm going to make it happen. But Spirit here is saying otherwise. I mean, let's look at it a couple different ways. Maybe you are that way, and maybe this message is just not for you. Maybe it's for your Cancer brethren, right? Or maybe they're saying that there is something else that you just are neglecting here. You're maybe pushing it away, or there's another decision that maybe you just don't want to make right now, or maybe you want to deal with it later, something like that. So they're bringing it up for a reason for a lot of people, and maybe it's not you directly, but maybe it is. And I'd like you to consider that maybe it is. And they're saying inaction in your mind. So basically they're saying you need to get this cleared up. You need to get your intention to be very clear, what you want, and get your head to basically back up what you want, the intent, so that you can bring it up into reality. That is the whole key here. So now we move into number 7, guys. This is your advice section. Now for advice, they really talk about learning things kind of the hard way, Cancer, repetition of lessons, and they show you guys struggle with this. So their advice is to focus on the lessons you've already learned. They're saying that a lot of you should be further along than what you are because of these lessons, and some of you just have an inability to move past certain things. Certain tendencies keep coming back, whether it's Amazon Prime, whether it's the way you spend your money, maybe it's the way you neglect health, maybe it's the way that you treat your job, maybe it's the way that you wish you did something different with your family. Whatever it is for you, they show learning things the hard way, and that is the advice, is that you just got to keep conquering your fears, getting over the stuff that you struggle with, especially in September, because it's going to come back. Again, this is a September spread, and that's what that means. When we get into your environment here, guys, this is very important. This is what the cross was about. Celtic Cross for the environment card. They show going on the offensive, especially in the work corner, guys. Now this, I don't want to pin it down too tight. Let me give you the base definition first of going on the offensive. They want you to go after something. They don't want you to just sit back and let it play out in front of you. They want you to take the ball. Take the ball, make the call. Do what you got to do. Take initiative here. Now, if this is a work thing, it's kind of the same definition, just framed up under work. And the work corner is a big place. It's work, business, enterprise, area of study, collegiate courses, retirement, if you're of that age, what you spend your time doing instead of work, and also the entrepreneurship. For most people, it's just the job. It can also be hobbies and interest here too. So they really want you to go after something there, whether it's a job, a promotion, a different job, learning something, getting accredited, whatever it is, they want you to go after it. And September is when they're saying, you got the environment around you to do it. This is the best time environmentally for you to do it. Maybe something close proximity. Maybe they're bringing up the environment by just saying you're at a good point in life to do this. So there we go. Next position up, this is where they're talking about a person, and this is hopes and fears. So this is either your hope or your fear about another woman, and this is not you, or else they would have mentioned this in another way elsewhere in your spread. This is somebody else. This is a hope you have for this other woman, or a fear you have about her. Now, I don't have any more details to give you in a general reading from that, unfortunately, except that it's about this other woman. Okay, so if it is a hope, that's a good thing, and I don't really have to give you anything for it. You're thinking positively, and that's the best you can do. If this is a fear, you have a fear about this other woman, or something she may do, or something she's going through, you're scared for her, or whatever it is. Keep in mind here that fear is not only just a very low vibration, but it's also not going to help much. It's going to only make things worse. You really need to kind of turn this around into a hope. And that's this position. It's just like you've just got to turn this whole thing around. And all you do is just flip it around from my side of the table. Sounds very easy. For you, maybe a little bit harder. Harder for you to look at this person in a good way or whatever they're describing here. But we want to move this into a hope. So at least that you stick away from the kind of the negative, kind of darker energy. Now, as we move into number 10, this is your final outcome for the month. And they show a lot more freedom is coming to you in September. Things that used to bind you up and kind of hold you down are starting to dissipate. They're starting to go away, which is good. It gives you more mobility, more freedom to move around. Move around the country is that one flight airline quote is. So, logo, or not logo, but can't think of the word. The little phrase, a little paraphrase there for that airline. You're now free to move about the country. You're more free here to move around your September. Okay, Cancer, so do it. Freedom's a good thing. You want to. Everybody wants to be free. It doesn't matter where you are or where you're from or your belief system or any of it. If any of us become enslaved into anything, we immediately push against it. So freedom. You have the freedom and the mobility and the opportunity to do good things with your September. What are you going to do with it? It's up to you. So there we go. There is your Celtic Cross, and now that's your base reading. Now we get into your extra stuff, guys. And the first thing we're going to do is the Rune Stone while I'm looking at everything here. Now, the runes are already mixed up, but I will give them one more swirl. And here we go, Rune Stone for my great Cancers. It's going to be this one right here. And this is the Rune of Growth. It's reminding you sometimes growth is slow. Sometimes things don't happen as fast as we want them to, but it doesn't mean that you're not growing just because of that. Just because you plant a seed and it hasn't sprouted yet, does that mean you dig it back up and you give up on it? Yeah, maybe some people would say yes, but I would say give it a little bit more time. Give it more time to grow and see what sprouts if you just leave the roots alone and don't dig it up to make sure the roots are growing and expanding. It's not about that. This is about sometimes things take time. And I don't know where I got this quote from, but it stuck with me for a long time. I always say you cannot rush greatness. You can't do it. It takes time. And that's what they're telling you here. Growth for your Rune Stone. Now, Rune Stone is also available as a personal private product, personal service, I should say, on scottsagent.com if that's something that interests you. And now we're getting into your extra reading stuff, which is first chemistry tracking, and then we got some animal totems next. But chemistry tracking, guys, this is my brand new one. And this is basically just talking about your connection between other signs. And I always give spirit a way out here. First of all, the card work's done already. I do that ahead of time just to, this would be a forever long reading if I didn't do this. So I'm basically just talking about my notes, all the card work that I've already done. And for Cancer, I like to give them an out in case they don't want to talk about something. Maybe they think you'd overanalyze one of these or something like that. But they did not do that for you. They gave you very specific targets or targets to avoid for my Cancers. The first one, let's start with weak connection. Cancers, they show you being very weak connected to Leos in the month of September. Something to be aware of. If you're a single Cancer, you might want to avoid Leos. Maybe no good for you. For everybody else who's already got a Leo in their life, maybe just a little bit of a hiccup. Maybe not seeing eye to eye on certain things. Maybe the energy's a little off or segmented, something like that. Maybe it's a big deal, maybe it's not. But anyway, that's what Spirit wanted to bring up, is that Cancer is weak with Leo in September. Cancer, you are very strong, though, with Tauruses. Tauruses are coming in strong, coming in hot for you. So, again, message for my singles. Taurus would be good thing here. Maybe there's just one Taurus, and maybe that's why Spirit is pointing at it and saying, hey, this is good camaraderie here. But the rest of the sign got it, too. So, maybe you have a boss who's a Taurus. They're going to help you out. Maybe a coworker or a friend is a Taurus, and you're going to spend time with them and, have a good time. Who's to say? But anyway, strong connection with Taurus, guys. Take that for what you will. There is your chemistry tracking. Next up, we go into animal totems. Now, animal totems, lots of fun. They're just 2 cards. I can do that one, and I can do that one. Now, let's see what they are. I need to refer to my sheets because I have something like, 80 animal totems. Way too many, if you ask me. So here we go. These are my animal totem pages. The first one that you're going to be moving out of, they got you moving out of a stingray. Moving out of stingray. Very interesting. And they got you moving into, change pages. They got you moving into a deer. A deer. Now, stingray into deer. Well, the first thing that we cannot get away from is the fact that one has a pretty tough defense mechanism and the other one doesn't. Okay, so they're saying here, Cancer, you can kind of let your guard down a little bit here. You don't have to be the stinger. You don't have to display the stinger. You still got to be aware. The deer is very aware. Big eyes, wide frame, can see wide perspective of predators approaching and so forth. The stingray is more kind of going about his way. He doesn't really do so much running from it. So it's more about the awareness to me, and less about displaying the weapons and the protection and the defensive and the whole need for that. So they're getting you out of that. The other thing that you just cannot avoid is the fact that one is water and one is not. Water, anytime we have water, whether it's spirituality, tarot, it refers to emotions. Water is very symbolic of that. So they're moving you out of a water creature. They're saying it's time to get actually out of your emotions and get more grounded. The deer is a earth, mammal, walks around on the earth, runs. So that is grounding versus the emotional. So out of the emotion, get away from your emotional self a little bit, get more into the logical frame of things. And that is just the direction that they want you to go. Right now, it's not time to follow your heart. It's actually time to follow your head, Cancer. So there we go with that. If there's anything else in the transition from stingray into deer, I'm going to put it in the overlay above my head. Now, when I put on the spot like this, I come up with a few good things, but there's always one thing that I think of later, and that is what the overhead is for, because I do feel like I'm missing one thing. So we're going to get that done for you guys there. And let's move on to your very final thing here, which is homily. This is spiritual perspective, just a couple minutes of a story I want to share with you and send you on your way into your September. Okay, guys, it is time for your homily, September 2023. The very first homily ever is being recorded right now. You are a part of history, guys. So the topic that I want to talk to you about today is a realization that I had at a water park last month, of all places. That's what kind of inspired me to tell you this story and kind of make this part of your extended reading. And I took my daughter on a small mini vacation to South Florida. That's kind of where this whole thing started. Went to a water park. It was very small, but very nice, very pleasurable. It had a little kids section, a couple larger slides for more of the adults. The kids love that too. And a lazy river, which of course everybody likes. And you know what a lazy river is more than likely. And if you don't, it's just a small little stream that current pushes you around, mostly in inner tubes. So this is where my story takes place that I wanted to share with you guys. I was going down the lazy river, and it was a small course. It maybe took you about 10-15 minutes to go around the whole thing. And they had some good water squirts that would happen. And, you know, sometimes it was like a waterfall where you just got penetrated by water, just that was like free falling. Other times it was pressurized, like more of like a squirt gun and like a spray, and just different kind of textures and varieties that you'd pass through and go under. And it was very nice. And I'd been through it a couple times, and my good friend took my daughter to go on the big slide. She wanted to go on the big slide, so I was in the lazy river by myself, and I'd already been around the course a couple times by this point, so I knew the course pretty well, at least I thought I did. And I decided, you know what, I'm just going to try something a little different here. I'm sitting on this inner tube, going down a nice little current in a course. I decided to close my eyes and see what changed when I did so. Now, everything changed. First of all, your senses heighten. When you're looking like this, you're blindfolded, you know, your hearing, especially there, hearing was what's heightened the most for me. I was hearing that water coming way ahead of time, and I was apprehensive. I didn't know when it was coming. I just knew that it was. And I didn't know if I was going to be pushed into it or if I was going to be pushed around it, because there's kind of different ways you could go. And it just changes things when you don't see it. When you cannot see what's coming, it changes the way that your body reacts to it. It's just almost like a chemical reaction. You don't have a choice in the matter. It's just the way that it is. And it wasn't scary, but I could see for some people that it could be. And the only reason it wasn't scary is because I knew I was safe. If I was doing that like in an actual river, I would be a little scared, because I'd be wondering if that noise I'm hearing is actually like a waterfall or like a pretty big drop, or, you know, something dangerous was going to happen to me. Of course, it was a controlled environment, so it wasn't scary, but you still had the stress. You still had the apprehension and the nerves very heightened. So the realization that I ended up having, basically the moral of this whole story, is that it reminded me of people who do not seek any kind of spiritual progress with this, with their daily paths, their daily lives, tarot readings, a little bit of divination and forecasting, because that's what it does. It allows you to open your eyes to see the things that are coming. Most people are just driving blind. They're going through their entire lives like this. What I do, the ability to forecast and share my divination with you in this way, and with my personal private readings especially, you can look into all that stuff. You can see the things that are coming. You can plan and prepare a little bit for things. So it's not so scary. You don't have to be apprehensive about things. It gives you a calm, just knowing when things are coming and how you can align certain things to these occurrences that are in some ways going to come regardless. Sometimes you go around it. Sometimes you go through it. So that is your homily for September 23. Thank you so much for tuning into the readings. I hope you have enjoyed it as much as I have delivering it to you. I hope you have a great September. I know you will.
So I guess the fortune teller's right.